What a Sunday evening. Now, I didn't think I was going to go live today. I was watching the Knicks preseason game. I was watching the Knicks destroying the Timberwolves. Well, destroying is a stretch. They weren't destroying the Timberwolves, but they was doing a very good job. It was a competitive game, and clearly the Knicks were leading. They were doing everything they needed to do, so I was enjoying the game. Didn't really think much of it. I was actually going to drop a video about OG Anunoby and how great his offense was because I thought that was great tonight. So was creating the notes for that, doing all that work. And then surprisingly, out of the blue, nowhere, I see reports start coming out about Donte DiVincenzo and Donte DiVincenzo trashing Tom Thibodeau and Donte DiVincenzo getting into it with Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad, somebody who he's had a relationship with for years. And I wasn't sure what was happening or what was going on, especially because today, as we speak, an exclusive came out regarding Steph Bondy from New York Post interviewing Donte DiVincenzo and asking him questions about the trade, how he felt about the trade, and getting some inside information. And the crazy part about all of this is what was reported regarding Donte and that trade clashes with what happened tonight during the preseason game. We are going to break down everything that happened tonight, what happened with Donte DiVincenzo, Tom Thibodeau, Rick Brunson. We're going to take a look at the video as best as we can to try to avoid copyright. And we're going to break down all of that and so much more tonight. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Donte DiVincenzo trashes Tom Thibodeau. Now listen, again, was not expecting to do any type of live or any video today. But then I was watching the game. And as I'm watching the game, I look through Twitter. I'm looking through my feed, and I'm watching the game as well, too. I see Donte DiVincenzo chirping at the bench. Now, I think it's the bench at the time. You can't really tell. You can't really hear anything. But then I do a little bit of research, and I look into it. And then you figure out he's not talking to the bench. So who is he talking about? He's talking to Tom Thibodeau. So this is exactly what he says. We're going to watch the video as best as we can without the audio. But before we get there, I wanted you guys to at least see what the actual dialogue was from Donte DiVincenzo's side. So what you see here is, thank you for the trade, Thibs. Thank you for the trade. That's what happens when they let you run the show. That's what happens when they let you run the show. So I'm not sure what's going on with Donte DiVincenzo, the Knicks, or anything like that. Now, I thought everything was cool. We even reported that behind the scenes, DiVincenzo wanted to stay. Maybe he had some issues with regards to being a starter and maybe that he was losing that role, but he still was excited for the season. That's what we all thought. But then what we all seem to find out is that may not be the case, because if you're saying this, if you're mentioning this, there has to be something else, right? Well, we're going to get to more of what everybody was talking about, but before we get there, we got to see it, right? We got to see what Donte DiVincenzo's talking about. We're going to watch this from a couple of different angles, so stay with me as we go ahead and go through this. But we're going to watch this from a couple of different angles, because like I said, there's a couple of different ways to interpret this. We're first going to look at it without audio, the exact way it happened. So just give me a second to pull it up for you guys. And shout out to everybody who you have in the chat, everybody who's viewing the stream right now. I can't see all the live viewership right now because it's not working on my end, but we'll get there soon. So I'm just pulling up for the video for you guys right now. 1 second. Where is it? There we go. And where's, all right, doesn't want to open. There we go. All right. How we looking? Perfect. All right. So here's the one video queued up. No audio, obviously, guys, because again, I don't want to get hit with a copyright. But we're going to take a look. Just lip read with me, you guys, if you can, for a second. Take a look at DiVincenzo, what he's saying here. Directly at Thibs, right there. Stops. That's what happens when they put you in charge. That's what happens when you let you run the show, right there. Boom. And makes the free throw as well, too. So that's one angle of it. We can't really hear that. But the other angle I think we can hear is the above head, which is in the stadium, which is in MSG. So we're going to take a listen to that one. Give me a second to pull that up for you guys, because you're going to hear the audio a lot clearer in that one. Just give me a second to pull that up. But again, you can see Donte DiVincenzo clearly feels some type of way. There's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, clearly, because you don't just jump to that, right? That's not the first conclusion you get to there. All right, we have the video up. I have the audio ready. So let's get this started, guys. All right, perfect. Let's get it going. Can't finish, right? Can't finish, right? What are you saying? Woo! Some serious heat right there. Now listen to this. Now it gets quieter. You see it again. Listen. One more time for everybody joining the stream. I appreciate everybody coming on again. Random stream for me because I didn't expect to do it on a Sunday. But Donte DiVincenzo was talking something. So I appreciate everybody joining right now. Again, my stats don't work. I can't see anybody who's on in terms of the amount, but we're going to take a look again. Again, listen very closely to what Donte DiVincenzo is saying to Tom Thibodeau here. This is with the audio a little bit more quieted down. Wow. Wow. Leave a comment in the chat regarding what you guys think about that. Because guys, and we're going to get to the chat gang. You guys know I love you guys. We're going to get to you guys. But listen, there's been a lot of conversation regarding this trade. Who wanted this trade? Who didn't want this trade? Now, the funny part about all of that with Tom Thibodeau, and we're gonna get to the Rick Brunson part as well too, because that's another major part about this. I didn't see this coming. But to stay with Tom Thibodeau for a second, the reason this is so, I guess, alarming in a way is because of the story that just came out today. Now, if anybody wasn't taking a listen or a read regarding Steph Bondy in that New York Post article, let's take a look at it, what it says right now. So this is, shout out to Knicks Muse as well, too, on the AppX, giving us this little clip from that article there. So Steph Bondy interviewed Donte DiVincenzo. He got an exclusive with him, and he asked him about the narrative about him being unhappy in New York. This was his exact response. Again, this came out today, maybe a few hours ago. It was never a thing of, oh, we got Mikal, I'm pissed off. I was super excited. Take the Villanova stuff out of it. I was super excited because we have a very good player coming back to the team, and you get OG Anunoby back. Now you're looking at, wow, we're going to be really good. There was never a conversation that my role was going to be diminished. There was never a role that my minutes would be diminished. It was outside the assumption, and it was ran with, and it was untrue. Now, see, to one extent, I can understand that, right? Where maybe the trade part, he feels like a lot of that was untrue, that he was unhappy initially. Maybe he grew unhappy after he was traded, and that kind of was more so about all of that. I'm not sure, but whatever that was, him directing those comments directly to Thibs, that's what happens when you're in charge. That's what happens when you're in charge. That's a direct statement. There's more to this story that we don't know. Whatever that exclusive was, it's probably was to save face, because you can't say that and then come on court and say all of that. Even though I know Donte DiVincenzo loves to talk his stuff, and I know from time to time, the bench for the Knicks will talk trash as well too. I understand that. And it would be different if he was talking to the bench, but he wasn't talking to the bench. He was talking to Tom Thibodeau. He was talking to Thibodeau directly. Some comments we have about that as well too, because you know you guys, I can't leave you guys stranded here. I got to get some comments for you. James L. Edwards of The Athletic gave us some information here. Thibs on Donte DiVincenzo's comments that were caught on camera. Two competitive guys talking. Two competitive guys. That's his response. Okay. Chris French of the Minnesota Timberwolves said regarding Donte DiVincenzo's trash talking, I can't speak to what was said, or anything specific in regards to that interaction. But yeah, those guys are competitive guys. One guy that takes things motivation. Donte is super competitive. I like the fact that he's salty. Those guys are the guys you want to go to battle with. Edwards asked Tom Thibodeau about the issue with Rick Brunson and Donte DiVincenzo, and he said, I didn't see it. Two competitive guys, though. Stuff like that does happen. New York Basketball on the app X reported, we know Donte likes to mix it up inside. The 94 feet, see McConnell, TJ, and Turner, Miles Turner as well, too. We know Rick talks and sometimes get in players' faces. See Obi Toppin and see Obi Toppin specifically. So I understand that. To an extent, I understand what these guys are saying. These guys are competitive. Maybe it wasn't anything. But, and we're going to watch it right now. In my opinion, I don't think it wasn't anything. This looks like it was a little bit heated, and it looked like more heated from Rick Brunson's side of view because it looked like he was taking offense to what was said to Tom Thibodeau. You can even hear, I wish I could play it for you guys, but I can't. You can hear in the audio, though. If you guys could hear it, Donte says, it was for Thibs. He says it was for Thibs. So he's even saying again, what he was mentioning was for Tom Thibodeau. It was not for anybody else. Wasn't for New York fans. Wasn't for the bench. Wasn't for Rick. It was directly only for Tom Thibodeau. That matters. I don't know why it matters. We're going to find out, I assume, in a couple of days coming up. But it matters, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look at that video right now, again, without audio. It's unfortunate because, again, the copyright issues. But that's the only way I can play it for you guys. So let me just get it queued up for you guys. I got to first knock out the audio. So let me at least do that first and then pull up the next video. But leave comments right now if you guys can. Just let me know how you feel about everything that's going on right now with the Knicks, with this Donte DiVincenzo situation. Do you guys believe it? Do you guys believe that Donte DiVincenzo didn't have any issues with leaving the Knicks, and actually with the trade regarding that, did he actually want to get traded? I mean, these are the things that are being talked about right now, given the fact that his response to Tom Thibodeau, everything he's directing. Getting the video pulled up for you guys right now. It should be coming up right now. There we go, right there. All right, so here it comes. So you see Randall giving dap right there. Right there. It was for Thibs. He says it right there. It's for Thibs. So you got to be separated a little bit because you see, like, look, see Rick's going right back at him. See, he's going right back at him, see? Right into his face. And he has to be separated. And you can tell, too, because, look, Rick gets pushed, and then Donte walks off very, very fast. We're going to take a look at that entire interaction again. I don't know if you guys caught the beginning, so we're going to do that one more time. So there you go right there, you see? I think he said to Donte that was unnecessary right there. You told him they had a little interaction. And I think that set the entire thing off. See? I was talking to Thibs. Even Brunson's caught off guard. I don't know what the hell to do with that. Goes right back up to him. Right back up to him, starts talking to him, jab at him, see? And he makes a point to go near him and yo, what are you doing, Donte? And even Donte's trying to go back at him. I don't know how serious it is. I got to think that these guys are so competitive that it can't be something that serious. I can't imagine it being something that destroys the franchise in any type of way, in my opinion. I'm just saying it just from what I'm seeing, because I think a Tom Thibodeau thing does exist. I think we can clearly say that. It exists. I don't know to what level, though. I don't know why he's even blaming Tom Thibodeau, because that makes me think, does Thibodeau have more power in terms of who gets signed, who gets traded? Does he have more power, more say in that? Because before this, I never thought of Tom Thibodeau having that type of power. Maybe he had say in regards to, well, I think that's a good idea, right? Things like that. But does he have more power in the back? Could he be somebody that says to Leon, hey, listen, I think you should go after this guy. This is the guy that I want. Because if that's true, then do we look at some of the moves the Knicks have made over the past, few months? Towns, Mikal Bridges, re-signing OG Anunoby, even when that trade even happened. A lot of these players are Tom Thibodeau players. Even Karl Anthony Towns, to an extent, is a Tom Thibodeau-like player. Tom Thibodeau loved coaching him and said so many good things about him even after coaching him. Said how good of a big man that he was. Again, it's not a conspiracy theory here, but we got to take Donte DiVincenzo's words to mean something. They're coming from somewhere. The trash talk normally stems from some layer of truth. So I don't know what that layer of truth is here. But one thing I do know is I don't believe this. There's no way I can believe. How can I believe this report after what we just saw? After all the videos we just saw, the evidence I just displayed for you guys? There's no way. Let's go to the chat, see what you guys have to say. Before I do, I got to see the stream because I don't even know how many people are even watching the stream right now. Shout out to, I think it's 500. Shout out to all the 500 people watching the stream right now. Anybody, if you guys can, please go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't done that for me already. Hit that subscribe button as well, too. We're breaking down right now really what's happening with Donte DiVincenzo and this entire Knicks organization, because essentially in that video, he was blaming Tom Thibodeau, saying this is what happens when they let you run the show. What does he mean by that? What does he mean by this is what happens when we let you run the show? He said that twice. Made it a point to say it twice. Shout out to the chat gang, everybody here with me. Let's go to your comments, guys. Shout out to you. We're going to go as fast, as hard as possible here. Audie says, boo him for what? He wanted to stay here. It's part of the business. I'm not mad at him. Shout out to you. Let's see. David says, do you think there's any chance that Devo can be traded back to the Knicks someday in the future, Troy? I think anything is possible, but given what he just said about Thibodeau right now, I need to figure out what that whole interaction was. Because before I can say something is possible, I got to figure out what the heat is, why that situation went that direction. Why is he focusing his comments on Tom Thibodeau? That's the thing that doesn't really make sense to me. Let's see. John says, stop that. He is pissed they traded him. Him for Cat was a good trade. John, I see, the thing is, I don't know anymore, because I thought initially he might not have been that upset about it. Because, again, it is a business. You had the interviews go out. You had a number of Knick insiders basically confirmed that Donte wasn't upset about having his role diminished in New York. He basically said there wasn't even a discussion about it. But there had to be something there that caused him to say all of these things about Tom Thibodeau. And then, obviously, with the interaction between Rick Brunson, I know you're competitive. Don't get me wrong, but the game is over. You've lost. The Knicks are undefeated in the preseason. Shout out to the Knicks. Woo woo. Very happy about that. I was going to go off about that. My energy was a lot different about 40 minutes ago. But now it's a different story, because you got to review the Donte DiVincenzo situation, because it matters only to the point where what does it mean for the Knicks and the moves that they make? Because you got to understand, how much is Thibodeau involved there? I never, ever considered Thibodeau somebody to worry about in terms of involvement to that level. He's the coach. I mean, he has say-so like any coach would, but to that level, it sounds like he's like a GM. Am I wrong with that? Because in my opinion, if he's involved to that level, that's kind of a GM move. And I don't know to what extent he was involved in the Donte DiVincenzo thing. Maybe it was up to Thibodeau to sign off on that, saying, you know what? If it's going to get me Cat and you want Donte, I'll sign off on it. You can go ahead and do it. Maybe that's what it was, but then why not take a shot at Leon, or take a shot at Wes, or take a shot at Gerson Roses? Because I'm sure they had just as much to do with it than Tom Thibodeau did. It's just an interesting thing to go through. Miguel says, Donte clearly did not want to get traded. Thibs gave him full freedom as he blew up and improved last season. But Donte may also have a point. Management may have consulted Thibs on who can be moved. Miguel says that. Shout out to you. Easy on him TV says, you thinking too hard. Maybe. It's possible. But again, he gave us something to think about, right? He gave us something to talk about today. We weren't thinking about talking about Donte DiVincenzo going off against Tom Thibodeau, going off against Rick Brunson. And if anybody who's just joining the stream now, if you guys want to rewatch the video just so you guys can see what everybody else saw initially, just let me know. Leave the comments. I'll go ahead and review the video again. I have no problem doing that. Because again, I think it's worth it for everybody to take a look at it again, so you guys can see that. I don't know if we're making too much of a big deal out of it. It is what it is. I mean, he said what he said. We're just breaking down what he said and trying to understand why he would direct it to Thibs. I don't think there's any issue with that. I think thinking about what he said makes a difference when you're talking about the Knicks in the future, their attraction level, who they're going to go after, how much is Thibodeau involved to that level. These are all things that matter. They're going to matter in the future. Avnir says, I was in the game today. Donte is amazing, but Cat too. Shout out to you. Shout out to the game as well, man. I'm glad you were there. Anthony Sanchez says, it's not false rumors. It's obvious there's some conflict. We're just trying to speculate to see what's the reason that makes the most sense until we get clarity. Anthony's 100% right. But Anthony, the reason we're speculating is because this report came out. And for anybody who's just joining the stream right now, an exclusive report came out today with Steph Bondi of the New York Post. And he wrote an article exclusively interviewing Donte DiVincenzo and the narrative about him being unhappy in New York. He basically shut it down. He said he was excited to play. But if you were excited to play, then why did you have those words for Tom Thibodeau? And why would you direct them to Thibs? That's the whole point of it. That's why we're talking about it, because it doesn't make sense. The whole timing of it doesn't make sense. The exclusive came out, 7 hours ago? 7 hours ago. It's on my list right now. Guys, I have a list of topics I do every day. Check this out. I don't know if you can see it right there. Look at that, right there. Donte DiVincenzo trashes Thibs, right? Right there. It was already there. And look right there. Top one, right? Donte DiVincenzo sets record straight. That was for the Bondi article. I was going to do a video for you guys clarifying the matter based on that article. But there's no way to do it anymore because that whole entire thing is messed up completely. I don't know what is actually true anymore because that report after what just happened doesn't make sense. So now we have to wait for more clarity. But as I just confirmed, we waited for clarity. The coaches, everybody who was asked about it, they're not speaking about it. All they're saying is, well, these are just two competitive guys. Okay, I believe they're competitive, but I also believe there's something underneath the surface here. There has to be. The comments that Donte made has to prove there is some underlying thing here, something going on that we're not noticing. I think there was a Julius Randle thing that was going on as well, too, that potentially Randle had issues. I saw an interaction, I'm not sure who it was with, where Randle was going back and forth with somebody. Not sure what that was about, though, but I know that it's looked a little heated, but it didn't look like it had to do about a trade. It looked like it had to do about something outside of basketball. That's just my perception of it, though. Let's see what we have to say over here, though. Willie says, a player that is happy to get traded doesn't act like that. That's true. Steven says, a coach and management being in lockstep is not a problem. I doubt Thibs wanted Donte gone on a personal level. Anthony says, Donte obviously doesn't like his new team and who he's rounded with. Just Call Me Nitro says, you think Donte is just jealous for the Nova boys? Maybe he's upset. It's a good thing to think about. I'm not sure what's going on with Donte DiVincenzo right now. There could be a number of things going on with Donte right now. For me, the best thing I can say that we know of right now is that Donte has an issue with Thibodeau. He has an issue with Thibodeau. We're going to play that again. For anybody who didn't see it, we're going to play it one more time. So we can just listen to it again. I feel like it's okay to listen to it one more time. The above basket view was probably the best of the entire stream. That's the one we're going to go focus on right now. And we're just going to listen to it again, exactly how we heard it. This matters, guys. For me, it does. Just getting it up here. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to load, unfortunately. So I apologize for you guys seeing the blue screen of death there for a second. All right, give me a second to put the audio back on so we got it. All right, so let's listen again. All right, and leave a comment. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't. Let me know. He says can't finish, right, Thibs? What is that about? Listen again. The audio gets quieter. They denoise it in some way so that way we can hear it. Listen. Can't finish? What does that mean? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get what he means by can't finish. Who told him he can't finish? Who told him he can't? Who told Donte he can't finish? Did Thibodeau tell him one day in practice, like, listen, bro, you can't finish at the rim? Like, is that what happened? I'm just trying to make sense of it all. I don't understand. I really don't understand it. And he directs it twice. Those things matter. It matters. I just don't know to what level yet. I don't have the significance yet. I'm going to check on Twitter real quick to see if there's any update on it, just because maybe I missed it. Because I don't know what I don't know yet. Oh, I got to slow this down before I get hit. Let's see here. Trying to see if anybody has an idea what this is about. Okay, so Donte DiVincenzo does speak on it, actually. We got a video of it. I'm going to try to play the video here. Give me a kick. I'm going to try to play this for you on my phone. Give me 1 second so we can listen to it together. Let's see. Okay, maybe you can't hear that too well, so I'm just going to read what he says. So Donte DiVincenzo says that he was not talking to Tom Thibodeau about being traded to the Timberwolves when he yelled towards the Knicks bench during tonight's game. So I guess the whole situation, at least according to Donte DiVincenzo right now, is Donte is saying that it didn't have to do with anything about the trade. It just had to do with a certain play during the game where you can't finish. You can't finish. So maybe Thibodeau said at some point, you can't finish, Donte. What's going on? Maybe he was jabbing at him and joking with him at that point in time. But see, here's the thing. I get it, right? I understand that. And if that's what it was, maybe it wouldn't matter. But then the interaction with Rick at the end there, right? What's that about? Why did they get heated because of it? Because if it's clearly a joke and nobody's affected by it, you know Rick Brunson can take a joke. I mean, he jokes all the time with these guys. You're telling me Rick Brunson can't take a joke? So, listen, I get Donte DiVincenzo. I understand what he said. He said it had nothing to do with him being traded, had to do with something during the game, maybe a play. Okay, sure, maybe. But like I said, trash talking has a level to it, right? It has a layer to it, doesn't it? There's a layer to everything, the truth beyond everything. And maybe the truth there had to do with the trade, and maybe he wasn't mad at it, but clearly maybe he used it on top of what was happening during the game to talk a little trash. Because it doesn't make sense to say that's why they let you run the show. That's why you run the, like, what, that part doesn't make sense regarding the game, right? Like the other part does, but it doesn't make sense to me. Let's keep it going though. Nostalgia Nick says locker room stuff behind the scenes. Competitive banter says Lex the Destroyer. Dovid says coach joking with the player, then an interaction with that. What the? Again, I don't see that many of that. Now, maybe it's just a different dynamic between Donte and Thibs. Maybe they just were very, very friendly together and we never saw that. I don't know. But I don't remember interactions like this happening that often. And I think the things he was saying had more to do in just about the context of the game, if we're being honest here. Valentino says it's more to the story and so much more. I think he's giving me some credit for the opening intro that I normally do. Hey, listen, man. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I got to create a shirt of it. So, but thank you. I appreciate you. Wisdom says, Rick's lips say, watch yourself. And then you hear Donte say, you were talking to me. And that's when Rick gets closer to Donte and looks like he wants to get close to him. Again, Wisdom, I agree. I think there's more to the story here. I really, really do. I think there's more that we're not hearing from the Knicks side of things. Because I think if we're going to look at the Rick Brunson side of the video again, I think that's an important thing to look at. I'm going to mute this part as well, too, so you guys don't get a chance to hear that. Where's the Rick Brunson side of it? There we go. Just going to play the Rick Brunson part of it for everybody who's joining the stream right now who didn't get a chance to watch that part. 590 strong Sunday. Mets are on right now, and you guys are with me. What can I say, man? I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. All right. So turn off the sound a little bit, just in case. I know it's muted on your end, but still. All right, so look at this right here. First of all, look at this still, okay? First of all, Rick, he don't look very happy, all right? So before you even start the video, Rick doesn't look happy. He's already upset. So mind that, and let's continue. All right. Randall seems to be a little happy, but then Root, right? I was talking to Thibs. He says that right there. You could look, we'll read it back. Run it back real quick. Look what he says. One more time. I was talking to Thibs. That's what he says. I don't think Rick Brunson cares. But look at the intensity. He makes an intensive push toward Donte, clears a couple of people to make sure he says something. And that Donte hears what he has to say. And Donte walks away pretty fast as well, too. Listen, we don't know the full story. We don't. I think there's truth to a lot of things we're hearing right now, right? I think that there's truth to the fact that Donte DiVincenzo has some type of feelings about the trade. But I also think that had to do with something that happened in game. But I think it all kind of came together in a way that came out that way. And I think it's okay to believe that. It's true to believe he didn't want to be traded. He didn't like the trade. And maybe before he was traded, he didn't like the fact he was going to come off the bench. I'm not saying that made him unhappy, but it's believable to understand why he could be unhappy and make these comments, because it doesn't make sense for him to make that comment off of 2 plays in a game, in a preseason game. Preseason. It doesn't make sense. There's more to this story. We are going to figure it out as the details come out. Stay locked to the Knicks Recap. You will be getting those updates. And again, we are on a road to 20,000 subscribers. I can't believe I'm even saying that. This channel at 20,000. When I first started, I couldn't believe it. But the fact that we're nearly there, can't believe it. You guys are a big reason for that. So I thank you guys so much for that. If you guys are not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're smashing the like button. Let's see if we can get this video up to past 100 likes if that's not already the case. Unfortunately, my stats aren't working, so I can't really see everything. But I appreciate everybody being in the chat gang with me here tonight. UPS and Browns, I appreciate you. I remember you from the playback.tv room. He says, yo, Troy, Donte, Randall, and Ant-Man are not happy with the trade. That's why Ant-Man and Donte were playing like it was a regular season game. Listen, I did notice that the intensity level checked a little bit of a different box with this game. Now, maybe we could say that maybe this was the Knicks' first true test, right? The couple of first preseason games, it really wasn't anything of high-level competition, right? But the Wolves were really the first level of competition the Knicks were facing. So I think that's something that matters and makes sense to talk about. But I think it was a little bit of an extra intensity there. But I think that's going to be the case anywhere, right? You're playing against your old team in the old building where you just made history. I think there's going to be a level of, I want to play my best and show you guys what you did was wrong. I think it's always fair to assume that's going to happen. But I don't think that means that he was mad about that per se. I think there's more to that behind the scenes regarding the trade, because the part is the part that throws everything off here, that doesn't make any sense, is that's why they let you run the show. That's why they let you run the show. And that part doesn't make any sense. Just Call Me Nitro says, we got you, Troy. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, man. CPD Artist has only 145 likes. I appreciate that, my guy, CPD Artist. By the way, CPD Artist, you guys don't know, I'm rocking a CPD Artist classic right now. One of my favorite shirts, by the way. If you guys aren't picking up CPD Artist clothing, I don't know what you guys are doing. Its profile is right there. Click on it. Go to his website. Cop you some Knicks merch that is exclusive and very, very good material. I love it. Love the way it feels. I've watched this about 5 times, and it's amazing right now. So CP, love everything you're doing, my brother, and I will continue to support you and all of the merch that you continue to put out, my guy. Appreciate you. Let's see. My tech vibe says, go figure. Who knows what that's all about? Donte, I think, was beefing with Rick the whole time, says Great Britain. I don't know. Do you guys think that he was beefing with Rick the entire time? Do you guys think that was a problem even when he was a Knick? I don't really think that was the case. I thought Rick Brunson has a good rapport with all of the Nova guys, including Donte. I don't think they always had an issue. They clearly have an issue now. I don't think it was always the case, though. Joseph says, Drake is a MF rap king. Well, I appreciate that. I have no idea what it has to do with this, but appreciate you. Britain says, tag your link, CP. CP, put your link in the description or in this chat, man. Everybody wants to buy your merch. I'm telling you guys, it is not without a reason to buy it. He has great merchandise. And listen, he's not even a sponsor of the show. I really just like his material. Please, just get his stuff. I'm telling you. Nostalgia Nick says, Donte knows. Nostalgia Nick also says, Thibs started it. UPS and Brown says, no, not with Rick. I think he was saying with, are you saying with Tom Thibodeau then, UPS? I don't know if he always had issues with Thibs as well, too, because I think somebody mentioned in the chat as well, Tom Thibodeau allowed Donte to kind of run whatever he wanted to run. And he was able to kind of have freedom to shoot. I don't think a lot of other places would allow Donte DiVincenzo to do that. So I don't think he had an issue with Thibs. Thibs gave him the green light a lot. I don't know why you'd have an issue with a coach that gave you the breakout year of your life. That was his best career year. I don't think anybody would have an issue with that. That's why the comments toward Thibs really doesn't make sense to me, you know? That's the whole problem with the whole thing at this point. We're gonna go through a couple more comments, and we're probably gonna shut down the stream at this point. I didn't want to go too long. I just kind of wanted to review the Donte DiVincenzo thing with you guys, get your comments on it, and see if you guys thought it was significant or not. I know Donte clarified the comments and basically said, well, I don't think it was that serious. I don't think it was a major issue, but the two things don't add up. If it's only about an in-game thing, then why would you mention the thing about Thibs running the show? Why would that be an issue? Again, it doesn't really make sense. Just Call Me Nitro says, this whole thing is wild too. It's a point where Donte has beef with his former head coach. I'm so sure this is a personal level of talk. I also think it has something to do with that personal level as well, too. There has to be another level to this. I agree with you, Nitro. Britton says, they saying Thibs was around the scoreboard when Donte started speaking. Rick was on the bench. He told him he doesn't run the show. Are you talking about the fact that he was saying to Rick Brunson that he doesn't run the show? You see, that's different because even Donte acknowledged that it was to Tom Thibodeau, and Donte said a couple of times he was talking to Thibs. I don't believe it was to Rick Brunson. I don't think he had any smoke for Rick Brunson at all. This was not about Rick. This had nothing to do with Rick, in my opinion. This had everything to do with Tom Thibodeau in some level. And I think this speaks to the volumes about Tom Thibodeau and his role in that front office. I think he plays a significant part, a bigger part that we don't know about. One thing to consider, guys, and maybe we don't think about it enough. The GM spot for the Knicks right now, is it open or is it not open right now? Because I'm pretty sure we don't have a GM, but maybe we do. Maybe that role belonged all along to Tom Thibodeau. And eventually, when he's not head coach of the Knicks, maybe he goes to the front office and the role he gets is of GM. It's not like he doesn't know how to work with Gerson Roses. He used to do that when they were in Minnesota together. So they have experience working together. Clearly, Leon Rose trusts him, trusts his basketball mind, trusts the way he interacts with players. There's a lot to believe that Thibodeau could have a bigger role here, especially when it comes to the front office. I'm not saying he has full control of who they add, but I think the power that he has might eclipse some other head coaches in terms of their power. I think it's a little bit more than the other typical head coach would primarily have, given his relationship with the front office at this point in time. Maybe you guys disagree. If you guys don't, leave a comment below. Let me know. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Let me know. Let's keep it going here. AP says Donte DiVincenzo is a true Knick. Is he? After talking all that stuff, are you still going to rock with Donte? Is he going to get a standing ovation when he comes back? Because he got a standing O along with Julius Randle. He even got a video package tonight. It was preseason, but he still got a video package. Imagine getting all of that. And then at the end of the game, all of this happens. It's a weird way to the game, a weird way for the game to go. Andres says, see if the Wolves want Mitchell Robinson and trade him back. I don't think they want that trade. Let's see. Pacino says, I knew Thibs had control when he made Leon trade Grimes and Toppin. CP the Artist says, I believe Thibs and Leon alone wanted this trade. AP says, hell yeah. Listen, I think Tom Thibodeau definitely had a bigger part to play in this trade. I believe it more than anything now, given the exchange we saw with Donte DiVincenzo. I don't believe it's the full story here. I think there's more to the Donte DiVincenzo story that we're not hearing. There's another part to it. I believe DiVincenzo, by the way. I believe that it had to do with something that went on during tonight's game. But I also believe that triggered DiVincenzo to say a little bit more than he wasn't supposed to say. And that caused this entire thing to happen. It caused Rick Brunson to get that upset as well, too. Because if it was inbound, Rick Brunson would not have gotten upset. There's no reason for it. None. Zero. Rick Brunson can take jokes. The fact that Rick Brunson got that upset about it makes you understand it's more than basketball here. It's more than what happened on that court. There's another level to it. That level for me is the trade. And until I hear otherwise, until somebody else clarifies the situation, that's how I'm going to feel about it. Because there's nothing that says anything else against it. Those comments are higher than just the basketball play. AP says, do you remember when Anthony Mason came back and I almost got into it with Larry Johnson? This was home. Listen, hold on. Let's keep it going here. I want to get some more comments here. I do remember that situation as well, too, by the way. when there were different situations coming on with the Knicks during that time. And I remember as well, too, when trades happen, it's never, ever, ever, oftentimes, 100% split down the middle fair. One side always and forever will feel a certain type of way versus that other side. And maybe it's a small amount, but it grows and other things can trigger it. And if you're somebody that talks trash, then that makes a lot of sense as well too, right? AP, I figured out afterwards you didn't mean yourself, but the way it was written, I'm like, what did he mean himself? But then I read it again, then I understand the situation you were talking about. But like I was saying regarding trades, it's never 100% down the middle. One side is always going to feel unfairly treated in some form or fashion. And Donte is the type of player that might use that as motivation, might use that during game to play a little bit better. Maybe that's what happened here. Maybe there's another level to it. I don't think we're ever really going to find out the true story until both of these guys sit down and we're able to hear from both of them. Whether that happens or not, that's anybody's guess. We're going to keep going with the comments here for a little bit. I just want to see what's going on with the chat. Again, my stats don't work right now. So I'm going through a couple of different things, trying to figure out who we have, how many people are in this chat, and what's going on. So I appreciate everybody who's staying with us as we continue to break down this Donte DiVincenzo situation. Britton says, yo, this Celtics season opener is going to hit crazy. Can't wait for it. Honestly, I think it's going to be great. October 22nd cannot come here soon enough. And I think that's going to be obviously the real test for New York, where we're going to see the real 9-man lineup for the Knicks. Going to be great times, man. A couple more comments, and then we're going to end the show because, again, I really just wanted to come on, talk to you guys really quickly, break down the Donte DiVincenzo situation, the shocking situation regarding Rick Brunson, what happened after the game, what he was saying to Tom Thibodeau, that higher level of meaning, what it could potentially mean. Even though he said it was about the game, I think we all can agree. There's a different level to what he said, and I think he feels some type of way about the trade. I believe that right now, and I'm not going to stop believing it until somebody tells me otherwise. Cully agrees, saying, agreed, Thibs definitely has input on trades. I know he does. AP says, Troy, you got to do post games every night. Time to expand. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Listen, the only reason I don't do as many post games is because, number one, I'm a single dad, so I got a son. Sometimes things happen with them, so I don't get to be available every night in the way I want to do the post games. And when I do them, I want to be able to break down the games. What I have been trying to do, though, is watch alongs, not for every game, but for some games. So you might catch me doing a lot more of those watch alongs than the post games. But either way, I'll always try to give you guys a breakdown of the game, what's going on, everything like that. One of the main reasons I did this Donte DiVincenzo video tonight is because I wanted to make sure I got you the game video regarding what I liked about the game tomorrow morning. So don't worry, that video about the good things about the game, major issues about the game, things like that, I'm going to give you all of those updates tomorrow. So hopefully that can help you guys in this particular way without having a post game. But I appreciate you, AP. That might be down the horizon at some point. If I do a post game, though, I would like to do it with somebody, because I think just doing it with me, I'm not able to contain my hype alone. I need somebody else to bounce off of. So I might think about doing it that way if I do choose to do one, but I appreciate you. Let's see here. Pacino says, Ant almost closed down Wingstop. Listen, man, Ant was killing us. Ant was killing us. And I think it has to be said, it didn't matter who was on him. We switched on Ant 100 times. We put Mikal on him. We put OG on him, although Mikal was his primary defender. We have to mention that. They were switching on him, though. It didn't matter. He was hitting threes from everywhere. Didn't matter how close he was, how far he was. He was on fire, and there was no way to stop him. But another thing to look at, though, is that third quarter explosion we saw from the Knicks. We saw the Wizards, right? We saw what they did against the Wizards that other game, the previous night. And then tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Third quarter again, explosion. One thing to note about that is Mikal Bridges, right? Mikal was the biggest part of that entire thing. Mikal Bridges exploded in that third after really not doing anything those first two quarters. And that's something else Mikal is going to give you. He's always going to give you defense. First quarter through the last quarter, defense is always going to be there. But the offense will come when it needs to come. That's why I'm not worried about Mikal, clearly not worried about Brunson, not worried about Cat, not even worried about OG, who impressed me the most out of anybody tonight. OG Anunoby was the one out of anybody else. He did a lot of things that I liked. And even though his efficiency wasn't great, his aggressiveness absolutely was. We're not going to get too much into that because that video is for tomorrow. You want to hear my thoughts on that? Check out the video tomorrow morning, probably coming out around 10 to 10:30 in the morning. So definitely check that one out. And again, if you guys don't know, the Knicks Recap, it keeps you updated every day. Daily Knick videos. I find something to talk about. I don't know how. I find something, though. Off season, regular season, preseason, all-star break, doesn't matter. We're going to find content to talk about. We're going to go live. It's always going to be something for you. But you guys can help me so much if you do two things. Well, even one thing. You can do one thing. But if you do the second thing, it helps me too. Subscribe to the channel. That's number one. You do that, you automatically help me. We're trying to get to 20K. The second part of that, though, is making sure you join as a member. We're trying to do giveaways on the highest proportions. I'm talking about giveaways that nobody else is doing. But the only way I can do that is if I get more members. If I get more members, I can do the giveaways that I really want to do. And that giveaway type of, those level of giveaways are going to make me happy, you guys happy, everybody happy. So hopefully we can get there. That will help me a lot. You guys and your support are the reason that I'm committed to doing this each and every day. So I thank you for that. Couple more comments, and then we're going to have to end the show, guys, because I think my son's going to get a little bit mad. I'm interrupting his TV time. He has no school tomorrow, so he's awake and listening to me doing a live show. He's not too happy. Let's keep it going here. Living Life says, 2 hearts to me. Appreciate you. John says, they lost. That's all that counts. You people sensationalizing, giving the Knicks credit for the win. Stop the gossip. I don't think it's gossip, John. I really don't. I think there was a situation that happened, and we're breaking down the situation. And I think that's what any other place would do. Any other platform does that. I'm sure ESPN is doing that right now. Are they sensationalizing? Are they sensationalizing that situation by reporting on it? It's a report at the end of the day. So you break it down. CP, the artist, says, it's only preseason, but I'm kind of worried about Cat. I'm not too worried about Cat right now. But CP, I would be interested in understanding why you are worried about him. AP says, I used to love when I didn't have to go to school the next day. My son loves it so much. You have no idea. He's kicking back right now watching, I think it's Alvin and the Chipmunks in his rotation right now. I'm glad you guys can't hear it. I have to lower it because their high-pitched noise picks up on every single mic. Doesn't matter what I do. I could do anything. It just pick up anyways. Britton says, tell my nephew, little Troy, enjoys Columbus Day off. Hey, I appreciate you. I'll let him know everybody's saying their thank yous for that. I'm sure he'll appreciate you guys. Let's see here. UPS and Brown says, Ant-Man played in the Olympics. That's why his shot was on. We have players that are trying to get in game shape. Yeah, that's true. I believe to an extent that's true, but I also think there's more to the story as well. I think there's a lot of other things that probably have to do with it. Alvin and the Chipmunks are not still on, but Netflix is a binge. It's on forever on Netflix. So Netflix, but it's not the one that we grew up with. If you're talking about the ones in the 90s, the ones that I loved, yeah, it's not that one. It's the it's the 3D one. But the problem is the voices are easy to do. It's just high-pitched voices, so you can always recreate it. But it's the 3D one. But shout out to you. Appreciate you, UPS, and thank you as much as well, too. I appreciate you joining the stream as well. And I appreciate everybody joining the stream and showing love to what we were covering here today. Again, we were breaking down the Donte DiVincenzo situation, what happened with him and Tom Thibodeau, what happened with him and Rick Brunson. If you guys missed the beginning of this stream and you're wondering to yourself, what happened? Don't worry. The stream is about to end. We're going to call it quits right now. You can restart this video and watch exactly what everybody else already saw. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys showing me love, joining the chat, even though baseball is happening right now, preseason basketball is happening right now. It's Sunday. It's 10-something at night. You could be anywhere in the world right now. But what did you guys do? You saw a recap was on. You jumped into the stream. You joined with me, and we were able to break it all down with you guys live. I love to do this from occasion, and it seems like you guys enjoy it as well, too. So I might do this a little bit more often, especially if I get the turnout like we had tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the support and everything that you guys do to make this channel a success. Please continue to support me, and I will continue to try to give you great content each and every single night. But that has done it for this episode here today. I really do appreciate all the support. Please, guys, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace. And I'll see you next time down the road on our next live. Likely, that one's going to be on Friday, but you never know. With this Knicks team, they can make another move. And like that, we could be on again. So definitely stay tuned. But enjoy your evenings, enjoy the rest of your weekends, and I will see you guys down the road. Peace and love.